Your share price under pressure, a lot of concerns about whether you can pull this off. It's a huge deal. How much do you need the deal, and how confident are you that you will be able to push it through?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me, Francine. And we are very excited about the offer for Monsanto, which we submitted. You kind of indicated the headline share price and the company valuation. We see that this is a great opportunity to drive our science and innovation-based business model going forward with the strengths of Monsanto. We are very much convinced that this is a value proposition for the Monsanto shareholders, and we are also convinced and fully committed to this transaction.
Do you think that you will get shareholder backing on your side, and when are you expecting to have an answer from Monsanto?
Well, we are starting today to communicate many things that our shareholders need in order to assess the quality and the great value proposition of this offer, not only for the Monsanto shareholders, but also for our shareholders. We have in the past always gone where we can create superior value, and if you look at the history of the company over the last 10 years, we have quadrupled the value of our share, and that is very much driven by the significant and transformational transactions we have done in other segments of our portfolio, be it in consumer health or in pharma, or also most recently with the IPO of Covestro.
Mr. Baumann, Citigroup and Peter will take your debt out to 42 billion euros. Critically, they don't see return on invested capital doing better than cost of capital until 2023. Can your shareholders wait for an ROIC return that goes out 5 years or 6 years or 7 years?
Well, there are a number of things that need to be understood with our offer. I cannot relate to the figures you quoted. Let me tell you how we see the value creation of this transaction. Actually, as a matter of fact, in the first year after closing the transaction already, we see double-digit earnings per share accretion, and with that also the ability to pay a higher dividend to our shareholders. Starting from the second year, this will be a double-digit increase, about roughly that it is what it's going to be over and above our current standalone. And then in terms of return on capital and WACC, after the third year, and not way into the 2020s, the way obviously some people calculate, we will be earning the cost of capital and a premium thereafter. So it is actually a fairly rapidly value-creating value proposition we have, and that's actually why we are so convinced about this.
There's any number of ways to go here, and I want to point out that Peter at Citigroup does agree that it is double-digit accretive really in the first year. The shareholders speak. What I'd like to know, Mr. Baumann, is how beholden is your 42 billion euros of debt to the policies of Mario Draghi and other central bankers? You've got the gift of free money. What happens to your company? What happens to this transaction if interest rates go up?
Well, first of all, we look, of course, at a well-blended financing structure with maturities that align with our ability to generate free cash flows, and with that, the ability to also delever. That is something that is a core element of prudent financial policy. And you may have seen the statement of Standard & Poor's in assessing what the financial structure and the balance sheet of Bayer is going to look like going forward. And we are actually very pleased because it is an indication that we are going to have a very solid investment grade rating going forward, and also the chance to attain an excellent business profile for rating purposes.
Right. Francine, Berenberg just publishing Berenberg Capital, and I would suggest they say that this transaction makes strong strategic sense, but Francine, they look for Monsanto to beg for a higher offer.
Right, and this is where I was going to ask the CEO, Mr. Baumann, if Monsanto, Werner, actually rejects your offer, are you ready, or do you have the capacity to increase the offer?
Well, we are totally convinced about the attractiveness of our offer. If you look at the fact that it is a 37% premium over and above the unaffected share price as of May 9th, I think that's a strong testimony to the value proposition for Monsanto shareholders. It is also in line with some of the transactions or attempted transactions which we saw in the past, and we are fully convinced that that is a highly attractive offer for Monsanto's board and also their shareholders to consider.
So is this your final offer? Or is it just your first?
It is the best offer. It's the best and strong offer. We are waiting for the response of the board of directors of Monsanto.
Werner, one final question. Berenberg Capital, Alistair Campbell having a lot of fun this morning. Are you going to name the company Monsanto?
Well, it is too early to speculate about what the name of the company is going to be. But let me tell you that Bayer's name and Bayer's reputation stand for science, innovation, and an utmost level of responsibility for societal needs. And that is what we are going to leverage on, also for the combined company going forward.
You don't see any major regulatory risks to the Monsanto deal. Have you discussed the deal with any major regulators that have already given you the implicit green light?
Well, you know, given the private character of the discussions up and until now, we have certainly done our homework internally with our internal and external expertise we have at the table, but we have not gone so far at this point in time and involved external regulators. That will then be one of the next steps going forward.